I had been with Shinjo for 10 years, inking his favorite gardenia pattern on my collarbone. He finally agreed to marry me, but kept an 18-year-old girl on the side. Before the wedding, he indulged the girl's breakup countdown, accompanying her on bungee jumping, skiing, and watching the northern lights in Iceland. But he didn't know I didn't have long to live. I booked a flight abroad, donated all his savings, and had the tattoo removed. He counted down to the wedding day while I was planning to leave him. The day he was diagnosed with stomach cancer, the young girl Shinjo kept outside came to me on her own. "I know I'm the other woman," the girl said with terrifying sincerity, biting her lip. "Sister, I know you two are about to get married, but Shinjo doesn't love you anymore. I've been with him for a year. We've slept together 78 times, 53 times in hotels, 21 times at my place, and 4 times at your place, in your bed." She looked at me bluntly. "If Shinjo still loved you, I wouldn't exist at all." I found it amusing, lit a cigarette, and looked at her through the smoke. "Anything else?"
Go on.
So she took out her phone and played a video for me. The angle was covert, as if secretly recorded. The girl cried in Shinjo's arms. "Even if you have to marry her out of responsibility, please don't abandon me." Shinjo pushed her away and tossed a bank card. "Find a reliable man. Being with me is no good. Too dangerous." "No." She wrapped her arms around his waist, acting spoiled. "I'm not afraid of danger. Can you not abandon me? Shinjo, I will never be your burden, never." Shinjo was stunned. His gaze swept over her face, dazed for a moment. Then he kissed her. I stubbed out my cigarette. The girl was exactly 18, full of youthful collagen, truly innocent. And the moment I saw her, I knew she reminded me of myself, of Tang Zheng at 18. "You were right about one thing. If Shinjo still loved me, you wouldn't exist." I stood up. Actually, I had a slight pain in my abdomen, but I supported myself on the table without showing it. "But I advise you not to fall too deep. Shinjo never loved you nor me. He only loves the Tang Zheng in his memories, the innocent and beautiful Tang Zheng who died long ago on the path to helping him rise. In a few years, he'll meet another substitute. By then, you'll only be worse off than I am." Actually, I lied to her. I'm about to die. How could she possibly be worse off than me? At worst, she was just played with by Shinjo, and then dumped. I've been with Shinjo since I was 18. I grew up without parents, and my grandmother, who raised me, passed away when I was 15. That's when Shinjo appeared. He pursued me fiercely, spending money like crazy, eager to lay the best in the world at my feet. Shinjo was handsome and gave me a sense of security. I soon fell for him. On my 19th birthday, he coaxed me into tasting forbidden fruit for the first time. That night, from pain to indulgence, I became completely one with him. The next day, Shinjo took me to meet his group of brothers. I had never been in such a scene, timidly tugging at his sleeve and quietly greeting them as he prompted. They looked me over with mocking eyes. "Shinjo, how did you find such a young girl? She's too innocent, she'll hold you back." Back then, I didn't understand what they meant by hold you back. I couldn't help but whisper back, "No, I won't. I will never become Shinjo's burden. Never." But later, as I gradually got to know Shinjo's world, I came to understand the kind of life he led. It was like walking on the edge of a knife. To avoid holding Shinjo back and to stand by his side, I had no choice but to force myself into that environment. Over 10 years, I cut my hair short, dyed it, started smoking, got tattoos, and even ended up with countless scars on my body. Because I was ruthless enough, I helped Shinjo climb to the position of the second-in-command of the Northern Underworld. But Shinjo didn't seem happy. Countless nights, he would hold me in his arms, his fingers tracing over the scars on my body, then lean in to kiss them. "Tang Zheng," he'd sigh, burying his face in my chest. "I still miss the you from back then." And I would always freeze for a moment before pushing him away, lighting a cigarette and cursing with a laugh. "Shinjo, saying that really makes you an ungrateful bastard." Shinjo didn't come home until dawn. I was lying in bed, not actually asleep. I just stared into the darkness until Shinjo pulled me into his arms. "Still awake," he said, lowering his head to kiss me, but missed. After a moment, he suppressed his frustration and hugged me. "Who pissed you off? I'll go chop them up for you, okay?" "Shinjo." The room was so dark I couldn't see his face, but I could smell the gardenia fragrance on him. Let's break up. Shinjo's movement stiffened. Then he let go and lay on his side. What now? He rubbed his brow impatiently. You're not a little girl anymore. Why so dramatic? Break up. He let out a chuckle. Tangjung, you're not young anymore. Who would marry a wife who smokes, drinks, has tattoos, and is tougher than a man in handling things? My chest ached. I pressed hard on my heart, but couldn't suppress the sharp, lingering pain. Last year, when I got stitches on my arm, I was allergic to anesthesia. I endured 12 stitches without making a sound, gritting my teeth. But Shinjo's drunken words of truth made my eyes redden. Shinjo, I couldn't help but want to ask him, if I had a terminal illness, would you? Tangjung, he interrupted, a hint of impatience between his brows. Stop asking such boring questions. If you really got a terminal illness, I'd commit suicide with you, okay? He pressed his brow. Lately I've been busy with the wedding and business. I don't have the energy to coax you. Stop being dramatic. While speaking, his phone suddenly rang. Shinjo hung up irritably, but the caller tried again. After this back and forth a few times, Shinjo picked up his phone and got out of bed. He said something. A girl's crying came through the receiver, indistinct. Shinjo cursed. What a damn hassle. But despite saying that, he still hurried out the door. There's a problem with the business. I'll go deal with it. You go to bed early. Don't stay up for me. Shinjo and I set our wedding for the 3rd day of next month. It'll be a simple ceremony. I never told Shinjo about my illness. It's terminal, basically incurable. I also never told Shinjo that I have no intention of marrying him at all. I can accept everything about Shinjo, except betrayal. Just thinking about him holding another woman in his arms, kissing her, searching her features for the shadow of my younger self, makes my stomach churn with revulsion. I've been with Shinjo since I was 18, a full 10 years now. The doctor says I only have about 6 months left to live. That means I've basically wasted half my life on him. With so little time left, I just want to be Tangjung. I booked a flight abroad, wanting to see this world I love but have never visited, while I still have the strength. The ticket is set for early morning on the 3rd of next month. I crossed off a day on the calendar. 10 days left until I leave. Behind me, the door opened. Shinjo entered, wrapped in wind and snow, shrugged off his coat, and came over to hug me. He still doesn't like my short hair. His gaze followed mine to the calendar. Shinjo looked at the heavily circled date of the 3rd, chuckled softly, and pinched my cheek. Can't wait to marry me? He counted. 10 days left. He buried his face in my neck. I'll take some time these 2 days to go with you to dye your hair black and have extensions put in. You'll look beautiful at the wedding. No need. I stared blankly at the calendar. There aren't many days left. Short hair is fine too. Shinjo was silent for a long moment. He let go, picked up his coat draped over the chair. There's a lot to do for the wedding. Third brother's place got raided yesterday. I've been busy lately, so I won't be coming back for now. As he spoke, he stared at me, as if waiting for me to give in, waiting for me to say, okay, take me to dye my hair, to get my long hair back. But I only gazed back at him coldly. Go ahead. There's only 10 days left anyway. Shinjo didn't say a word, turned and walked into the night, never looking back. 7 days until the wedding. I went to a tattoo shop on the outskirts. The owner, a woman in her 30s, looked well-maintained but with a weary gaze. She glanced at me and asked, "What are you getting?" I rolled up my sleeve, pointed at the SC on my wrist, then revealed the gardenia below my collarbone. Remove them all. The owner took a look. Removing them will hurt and leave scars. I smiled. I'm not afraid. Pain is the last thing I fear now. As for scars, I have so many on my body, 2 more won't make a difference. Besides, who knows, in half a year this body might be nothing but ashes. The owner chatted with me. Break up? I smiled. Yeah, soon. 7 more days. The owner clicked her tongue. So ceremonial, a countdown to a breakup. Maybe because the shop was too quiet, or perhaps I hit it off with the owner. Somehow, the first time I saw her, I felt we were kindred spirits. I talked to her about the past. Back when Shinjo was chasing me, I set a deadline. 300 days. If he could last that long, I would be with him. So every morning, Shinjo would appear before me and count the days. 179 days to go. Tangjung, in 96 days you'll be my girlfriend. Now there's only one day left, almost girlfriend. The guy who pursued me for 300 days through rain and shine eventually grew tired of me over the following 10 years. I hit it off with the shop owner. While removing the tattoos, I told her the meaning behind the two designs. The one on my wrist bone was tattooed when Shinjo and I had been together for 1 year. At that time, I was kidnapped by his enemies to threaten him. Shinjo came alone to save me, walking into a trap he knew was deadly without hesitation.
He was nearly killed that time.
When he was discharged from the hospital, I went to a tattoo shop and got his name initials tattooed on my wrist bone. Back then, I naively thought that I would commit to Shinjo for life. But that night, when I proudly presented my still red wrist to Shinjo, he was stunned. There was none of the emotion I had imagined. He frowned, first asking me why, then asking if it hurt. In the end, he pulled me into his arms and said, "Don't do this anymore. I don't like it. I don't like you hurting yourself. You're perfect as you are, no need to change. I love you clean and flawless, Tangjung." Back then I was young, thinking he just felt sorry for me, but never realized that Shinjo had already spoken his true feelings. And the gardenia on my chest was tattooed when Shinjo swore he would marry me at 28. Shinjo loves gardenias most, loves their pure, flawless white. So I had it tattooed over my heart, waiting for Shinjo to marry me. Now, finally, at 28, Shinjo has set the wedding date. He's planning the ceremony 7 days from now. But I'm planning how to leave him. Though this body is already broken and ruined, I still don't want to carry any mark of him when I go. I pointed to the other side of my collarbone and told the tattoo artist, "Tattoo a trumpet creeper here." Shinjo loves gardenias, but I prefer trumpet creepers. He wants me to be pure and flawless. But in the remaining days of my life, I insist on being a trumpet creeper that stands tall on high walls. By the time I walked out of the tattoo shop, it was already dusk. The landlady and I hit it off, so we exchanged contact info and added each other on WeChat. On my way home, I passed a stall selling cotton candy. I couldn't help but stop. The last time I had it was when I was a child, back when my grandmother was still alive. Whenever I couldn't walk any further because I craved cotton candy, she would take out all the loose change she had and buy it for me. She always watched me finish it, then scolded me with a laugh. "You little sweet tooth," she'd say. Grandmother always loved watching me smile. Her smile made the wrinkles on her aged face even deeper. A cold wind blew, scattering the memories. I walked up to the stall and bought a cotton candy shaped like a bunny. It was very sweet, just as cloyingly sweet as I remembered. As I passed a street corner, I heard a little girl ask loudly, "Mom, look at that auntie. She's so cool. But why is she eating cotton candy? Isn't that something for kids?" Her mother explained with a smile. "Who says cotton candy is only for kids? Anyone can eat it. Having something sweet makes people happier." I walked past in my high heels. Then came the childish voice of a little girl. "But why does that auntie look so unhappy even after eating such sweet cotton candy?" "Mom, that auntie looks so lonely." The voices faded. By the time I got home, the cotton candy was all gone, leaving only sticky hands. I went inside and washed my hands. Then I got a call from Shinjo. He sounded drunk. "Tangjung, he chuckled on the other end of the line. In 7 days, you're going to marry me. Tomorrow, I'll take you to pick out a wedding dress. You decide. You know my size." Shinjo was silent for a moment. I faintly heard a woman's coquettish voice on the phone. "Ajo, let me go with you to try on dresses. Don't you want to see how I look in a wedding gown?" After a long pause, Shinjo's voice was hoarse. "Okay." Only I couldn't tell if he was answering me or the woman beside him. When I woke up, I heavily crossed out yesterday's date on the calendar.
6 days left.
Today, I'm going to see a concert. Changed clothes, washed up, and put on makeup. Feeling a bit off, aching all over, but still managing to hold on. In the full-length mirror, a woman wearing the short skirt that Shinjo hated most, showing her slender limbs, smiled calmly, finally at peace with the ugly scars large and small on her body. Below the right collarbone, a campsis flower blooms. The concert was packed. I followed the crowd, humming along with effort. My proud destruction, the mediocrity I hate. Only then I remember those are what I love most. Maybe too absorbed, I only realized the pain in my body after the song ended. I pressed against the seat, forcing myself to endure. Suddenly, A carton of milk was handed to me. With a stabbing pain in my stomach, I looked up to see a young, unfamiliar face. The guy, wearing a creamy white down jacket, smiled at me. "Stomach ache? The milk is hot, you can have it." I took it, the warmth in my palm dispelling some of the chill. "Thank you." Just then, during a break between songs, the guy shook his head. "It's nothing. My girlfriend really likes helping others. If she knew I gave you the milk, she'd be very happy." I looked at the empty seat beside him. Couldn't she make it to the concert? The boy smiled, but a fleeting snow fell in his eyes. "She passed away. I'm here to watch this concert for her." The milk I just drank felt like a lump in my throat.
Sorry.
"It's okay." The music started again, and everyone turned their eager eyes to the stage. They were about to pick a lucky audience member. Rows of faces flickered across the big screen. The moment the image froze, I saw my own reflection. The camera seemed to pair me with the boy, and people around us started shouting for us to kiss. The boy quickly pulled a photo from his pocket and held it up to the camera. It was his girl. The microphone was shoved into my hand, and for a moment, I couldn't speak. In the end, I just looked at the singer I had loved for years and said softly, "I hope more and more people can see you and love you. I hope you get better and better." I don't know what else to say, so I wish everyone here, may you all live long and healthy lives. Some people around were laughing, probably not understanding why my wish was so ordinary and empty. The camera quickly cut away. The moment the next song's melody started, I saw the boy beside me gently tracing the outline of the girl in the photo. His eyes reddened as he whispered very quietly, "May my Sway also live to 100. At that moment, for some reason, I also suddenly felt like crying. The concert ended. I barely made it home. I had forgotten to close the window in the morning, and the room was bitingly cold. I closed the window, took off my makeup, and threw myself onto the bed. I opened a short video platform and casually scrolled, only to be pushed a new video of someone I might know. The account ID was Song Jun. In the video, the young girl was wearing a white wedding dress, and the man she was holding onto had his face blurred out. Her eyes were naive, yet hid a fierce ambition. Countdown 6 days. My boyfriend is going to marry someone else. I get to have you for a few more days. How I wish this moment could last forever. In the footage, Shinjo gently held the girl's waist. His movements tender, 5 days remaining on the countdown. I was in fairly good spirits today, so I got up early and did something big. I donated all the assets Shinjo had kept with me. 8 figures, not a cent left. Shinjo betrayed me emotionally, but in life he held nothing back. Over the years, he transferred almost all his earnings to me, keeping only daily expenses for himself. At the end, I left Shinjo's name. After all, since it was his money being donated, I considered it earning some good karma for him. As for my own savings, I donated half and kept the other half to spend. Knowing life is about to end is an immensely painful thing. So, I must leave a safety net to avoid experiencing even more pain. I can't let myself run out of money before I'm dead. Yet, just as I stepped out of the charity organization's door, I blacked out without warning and lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was already lying in a hospital bed. The nurse said they had called my emergency contact many times using my phone, but no one answered. Shinjo was my only emergency contact. "Sorry, I'll go downstairs to pay the fee later." The doctor grimly advised me to be hospitalized. If I still refused treatment, I might not survive half a year. I smiled and asked back, "What about treatment?" "I can't guarantee how the disease will progress, but I can promise that as long as there's any hope, we'll do our best to treat you. Actually, even with treatment, the hope is slim." "Thank you, doctor. Please help me process the discharge." Just as I left the office, Shinjo called. I was busy just now and didn't hear it. "What's up?" I looked at the familiar figure at the other end of the corridor. Nothing. I lost my phone, and a kind passerby helped call the emergency contact. "Good to hear. The wedding is soon. Anything you need?"
No.
Another moment of silence. From the other end came Song Jin's displeased, coquettish voice. "Hurry up, the ice cream is melting." Shinjo spoke. "Call me anytime if something comes up." The call ended. I frowned at the familiar person not far away, the owner of the tattoo shop. She was bending down to pick up the wig that had been knocked off by a passing child. When she looked up, our eyes met. "It's you." She obviously recognized me too. She straightened her crooked wig. Last time, I didn't tell you, but we're pretty much the same, both short-lived. That day, I was planning to close the shop. She smiled. You were my last customer in my career. What illness? Leukemia. She smiled nonchalantly. Incurable. We walked out of the hospital side by side. I pulled out a cigarette and offered her one. In the cold wind, we struggled to light each other's cigarettes. We exchanged a glance and suddenly burst out laughing. What a pair of unlucky bastards. We laughed as we watched the smoke dissipate in the wind, just like our impending fate. I changed my flight ticket. No longer going abroad. Together with Qin Yuan, I booked plane tickets to Yunnan. My body couldn't even handle the flight across the Atlantic anymore. Maybe it's fate that I was never meant to see that ocean view in this life. We two doomed souls hit it off instantly, both wanting to see Arai Lake. Last night, Song Jun posted another new video. Countdown. 5 days. Thank you for enduring your fear to go bungee jumping with me. I love you too. In the video, Shinzhou and her were strapped into safety harnesses, standing on a 100-meter-high platform, hugging each other as they leaped off. Because of his fear of heights, his body was slightly stiff. But at the moment of the jump, he shouted loudly, I love you, Xinjin. But if you listen carefully, the last two characters' pronunciation was not Jun, but Zheng. There were still 4 days until the wedding. Qin Yuan asked me if there was anything else I wanted to do. I thought about it and asked her to accompany me to see someone. On the way, Qin Yuan asked me, is she your friend? I shook my head. Quite the opposite. She's more like my archenemy. Qin Yuan raised an eyebrow, but didn't ask. On the way, she also went with me to a flower shop and ordered a bouquet of flowers. Lin Jing was the toughest woman in several blocks of the East District. She alone managed 7 or 8 bars, being ruthless to others and even harsher to herself. We had been engaged in open and covert struggles for years. Neither of us had gained any advantage. As soon as I entered the bar with Qin Yuan, I was stopped. Tang Zheng was called out and frowned at me. What are you here for again? To curse you, old woman. Her face instantly changed. Then she unleashed a torrent of abuse. Just like that, I kept her company in cursing for half an hour. I felt relieved, picked up the drink beside me, and took a sip. Before I could take another, Qin Yuan stopped me. Just a taste is enough. I reluctantly gave up and waved at Lin Jing. All right, I'm leaving. You should fight less and settle down early. Otherwise, how will you have the energy to find a younger guy? I had already walked out of the bar, but I could still hear Lin Jing asking those around her in astonishment. Damn, what did she come here for? Just to curse me for half an hour? Isn't she crazy? I turned around and happened to see her kick the younger guy beside her. I didn't lose in that cursing battle, did I? I didn't do my best earlier. I chuckled and walked out. Maybe it's because I'm about to die, but even my longtime arch-rival seems kind of cute now. On the way home, my phone suddenly vibrated. Lin Jing sent me a picture of a bouquet of roses. You sent this? The other person was silent for almost 2 minutes, then messages came pouring in. Lin Jing, what do you mean by sending me flowers? Only little girls like flowers. Do you think I'd care about those? You didn't hide a bomb in the flowers, did you? Tang Zheng, don't think sending a bouquet of flowers can smooth things over. This certainly isn't the first time I've received flowers in my life. The flowers are pretty nice. Thanks. Let's eat together next time. I looked at my phone, smiled, and slowly typed a reply to her. Yeah, if there's a chance. That evening, Song Jun posted another video. Only 4 days left. Hate to let go. Skiing together. I really like how you protected me. You remind me of my dad. In the video, Song Jun falls in the snow. Someone slides down from above, and Shin Zhou throws himself over to shield her with his body. After a few days, the video has gained some buzz, with many people following for updates. Why? Why must lovers be separated? His body language clearly shows he loves her, so why is he marrying someone else? Is he being forced by his family? Oh my god, it feels like the girl is holding back tears the whole time. Wait, are you guys shipping them? Don't you use your brains? He's about to get married and still playing a breakup countdown with his ex? Trash man and cheap woman. Just lock yourselves together and don't ruin the bride. The comment section is full of controversy, but more just waiting to see how they'll wrap things up in 4 days, eating popcorn. I didn't have the patience to watch their lingering. I swiped past the video. Casually, I liked the next video of a guy shaking his hips like a dog. 3 days left. I treated my buddies to a meal. They had no clue what was going on, just thought it was my bachelor party before the wedding. Bottle after bottle of alcohol was drained, but the atmosphere only grew livelier. Everyone talked about the past years. Someone brought up me and Shinjo. Actually, second brother really loves you for real. The speaker was so thin he looked nearly skeletal, but his nickname was Xiao Kuei. Once, second brother got drunk and cried for a long time, saying he hated himself for failing to protect you. He said sometimes he didn't even dare to come home because he was afraid of seeing you, afraid of remembering that it was him who caused this. He sighed. But after thinking it over for a long time, I still thought I should tell you. Sister Tang, second brother, has been keeping a young girl outside. Someone next to him kicked him. Damn. How much have you had? Sister-in-law, Xiao Kuei is too drunk. I'll take him home first. You guys keep drinking. Xiao Kuei was taken away. No one believed him. They just thought he was drunk and talking nonsense. Everyone at the table was chattering, all talking about how much Shinjo loved me. Someone, emboldened by alcohol, even called Shinjo. Say it. Shinjo's voice came through the speaker, short and firm, though the tone lifted slightly at the end. My brows twitched. I knew that tone all too well. It was the way Shinjo sounded right after he had vented his lust. Sister Tang treated us to dinner. It's been a long time since we've all seen you. The others started heckling. Second brother, are you busy right now? Come have a drink with us. Shinjo was silent for 2 seconds. I've got things to handle here, you guys drink up. Take care of Tangjung. Everyone drink less. God damn it. When it's over, find 2 brothers to see Tangjung home safely, you hear? After the call ended, the brothers all sighed with emotion. Sister Tang, look how much second brother cares about you. We single dogs are eating dog food every day. I didn't say anything, just took a sip of juice. The juice was room temperature, but I still felt a dull pain in my stomach after drinking it. I didn't bring any painkillers. It was too much to bear, so I went outside to get some air. Only then did I realize it was snowing. Leaning against a street lamp, I inexplicably opened Song Jun's short video. Maybe it was because I'd heard so much about Shinjo just now. At that moment, I suddenly desperately wanted to know what they were doing. 5 minutes ago, Song Jun had just updated a video. He and she stood side by side, the aurora borealis dazzling above them. 3 days until our breakup countdown ends. To fulfill my wish, he flew me overnight to Iceland to see the aurora. The aurora is beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as him. But what to do? He won't belong to me soon. Forget it, heavens don't meddle. Let him be happy first.
I'm Fine.
In just 5 minutes, the video has nearly 1,000 likes and is still rising. Crying my eyes out. Heavens don't meddle. Let them be happy first. First time I've hated the lawful wife so much. Is she not the bride? Did she save his whole family's life? Speechless. A pair of scumbags. And the comments are full of brain-addled romantics. Friends and family, I've bought a Revive armor. Front and rear cameras are broken. My pee is matte. I have no mirror at home. Before you curse me, show me your parents' death certificates. I stared blankly at the aurora in the video, dazzlingly beautiful. Suddenly, I remembered when I was 19 years old, curled up in Shinjo's arms, watching TV enviously. Shinjo, when you earn money later, will you take me to see the aurora? Sure, I'll definitely go with you someday. Snowflakes fell on my eyelashes, blurring my vision. I blinked, and the snowflakes melted. But the girl holding hands with him watching the aurora was not the 19-year-old. Tangjung. On the day before the wedding, early in the morning, I received a call from Shinjo. The wedding is tomorrow. His tone was slightly tired. Nervous? Not really. With all that's been happening, have you missed me? Not really. Another moment of silence passed before Shinjo spoke softly. I know you've been upset lately. At tomorrow's wedding, I'll give you a surprise, okay? The call ended. I went out, hailed a taxi, and headed straight for the cemetery. My dad, my mom, and my grandmother all sleep there. Before long, it will be my resting place as well. Thinking about it, if I can reunite with my family in the afterlife after death, then death doesn't seem so terrifying anymore. In fact, it even makes me look forward to it a little. If Grandma saw me, she would definitely raise her hand and chase after me, scolding me for being disobedient and coming down to join her so soon. But she could never bring herself to actually hit me. She would only pat me on the shoulder symbolically, then hold me and ask, "Has our Zhengbao been wronged over there? Does it hurt where you're sick? Let Grandma rub it for you. Darling, don't be afraid. Grandma will take you home." I brought Grandma's favorite bamboo, leaf green wine. I poured a cup in front of the tombstone. "Is the old lady lonely down there? Is your son taking good care of you down there? Wait for me a little longer. Our family will be reunited soon." I rambled on and on in front of the grave for a long time. I stood up, rubbed my sore and numb legs, and prepared to leave. After thinking it over, I turned back. "Oh, and don't bother protecting Xinzhou anymore. He's a jerk and didn't take care of me either. I'm leaving." I brushed the dust off the tombstone. "See you later, old lady." I bought a whole lot of cat food and went to see a stray cat I'd been feeding for a long time.
Meow.
I looked in surprise at the little cat rubbing against my pant leg. It's usually aloof and never pays attention to anyone. But maybe it sensed the farewell because for the first time, it took the initiative to get close to me. It gently brushed against my hand, as if to say, "Please don't go. Here, eat up." I rubbed its head. "We probably won't see each other again. This cat food will last you a long, long time." This little cat had been adopted before. That family treated it well, but after a few days it ran out on its own and chose to be a stray. It didn't want to be confined. Before leaving, I lit a cigarette and looked down at it. "Goodbye, little cat. Wishing you freedom forever." On the way home, I heard someone calling me.
Tang Yang.
I recognized the other person at a glance. Yang Lin, an old classmate I hadn't seen for many years. Back in school, the whole class knew he had a crush on me, but he never confessed, and I tacitly pretended not to know. "You still remember me?" He looked very happy. I smoothed my short hair. "You haven't changed much. And you can still recognize me." "Of course." He looked at me, his eyes so bright. "You're just like in school, haven't changed at all." How could that be? I couldn't help a bitter smile. Sometimes I even feel unfamiliar when I look at myself. The path of rising alongside Xinzhou was hard. Over the years, I had to force myself to gradually blend in with them, until I became a completely different person.
Lin yang seemed unjanget.
When he smiled, it still felt genuine and warm, a rare, youthful quality in a man in his 30s. He looked at me seriously. "How could I not recognize you?" To recognize someone, you look into their eyes, not at their clothes or appearance. "Tang Zheng, you haven't changed. You just got a new hairstyle. It suits you well." Just 2 sentences, but I stood frozen in place. "I haven't changed, I just got a new hairstyle." "Thank you." At parting, he said, "See you later." I said okay, but I lied to him. Better not meet again. By next time, I'll probably be a female ghost, not very lucky. My luggage had already been packed. The gifts Xinzhou gave me. Cheap ones thrown away, expensive ones sold secondhand for cheap. Without the affection, those gifts were worthless to me. I didn't have many belongings. I couldn't even fill a single suitcase. The rest I burned. After all, when someone dies, their belongings get burned. Sooner or later, it's all the same. As dusk fell, I dragged my suitcase and left without a backward glance at what I once considered home. That same night, Xinzhou was staying at the hotel where the wedding pickup would happen the next day, and he even messaged me late at night. "See you tomorrow. After all these years, I finally get to marry you." I didn't reply. At that moment, I was already sitting in the airport waiting lounge, together with Qin Yuan. I also came across Song Jun's final video. Xinzhou, that male lead, finally showed his face. He accompanied her as she planted a tree and then helped her write a wish bottle. The paper strips inside held their wishes. As the camera zoomed in, what he had written was, "May the little girl live a life free of sorrow." And what Song Jun wrote was, "I hope Xinzhou and I never have to part." I've been following this for so long, and now it really ended in tragedy. I cried my eyes out. Really, truly, can't they be together? To that bride, whoever you are, if you have any conscience left, just let go. Can't you make it work for them? Fucking hell, I've blocked them. How can I still see them? Let me curse again. A dog and a bitch. May the curse bounce back to you. I exited the video, pulled out the SIM card, and threw it into the trash. At the same time, the flight announcement came over the loudspeaker. I walked side by side with Qin Yuan toward the boarding gate. Without looking back, Yunnan is a beautiful place. Qin Yuan and I supported each other as we climbed Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Actually, we only made it less than halfway. Two sickly people managing half the climb was already our physical limit. But we still saw some stunning scenery. We went to eat mushroom hot pot. It was very delicious, but after 2 bites, I threw it all up. What a waste. Qin Yuan ate a lot. She said she was eating more for me. We also went to ride an elephant. We went to see Arai Lake. It was so beautiful that Qin Yuan and I even impulsively thought about jumping into the lake hand in hand to end it all. But before we could carry out the plan, a kind auntie stopped us. "What are you two doing?" the auntie asked in a thick northeastern accent, hurriedly blocking us. "You're such pretty young girls. What difficulty is so bad that you can't get through it? Listen to your auntie. Just live well. Living is the most important thing. Everything else is bullshit. Annie has some candy here. It's really sweet. Be good and eat it. Cheer up. Don't think about doing anything silly anymore." If your parents knew how heartbroken they'd be. The auntie was very kind. Qin Yuan and I obediently ate the candy and promised repeatedly we wouldn't try anything rash. Only then did she leave, looking back at us every few steps. The candy was very sweet, sweet enough that we suddenly lost the courage to end our lives. We decided to listen to the auntie. Let's live well. Every extra day we live is a day gained, not a loss. I heard that on the day of the wedding, Shinzhou went crazy. Messages piled up on WeChat, but I never looked at a single one. Except for Lin Jing's. She sent me a video of the wedding. On the stage, Shinzhou was sharply dressed in a suit, his expression unusually tender. But when the banquet hall doors opened, the bride was not there. His smile froze awkwardly. Lin Jing's camera lens focused on his face, capturing all his shock, panic, and fear. "Where is Tang Zheng?" he shouted from the stage.
Where is she?
"Find her for me." He mobilized almost all his men to look for me, but found nothing. Someone plucked up the courage to ask him, "Brother, did your wife see that video of you and that young girl?" He paused. "What video? Didn't all the videos have mosaics?" Someone scrolled to Songjin's last video and handed it to him. "We saw the earlier ones yesterday. They had mosaics, but yesterday's didn't." Shinzhou snatched the phone, his face turning pale.
Damn it.
The phone was smashed to pieces. As the video ended, Lin Jing immediately sent a message. "You're something else, playing a big move without a word.
Where are you?
Tell me the truth. Are you fucking dying of a terminal illness?" I didn't reply to her. That guess was right on the money. Lin Jing was actually a very smart woman. She probably guessed something and, regardless of whether I'd reply, sent me another bunch of videos. The guests dispersed. Shinzhou, eyes red, trashed the banquet hall. He smashed the screens and overturned the tables. The man went crazy until he was exhausted, finally squatting at the edge of the stage with his head down, like he was crying. In the video, Lin Jing's voice was completely undisguised. "I used to think you had good taste in men. Looking back now, Tang Zheng is truly an ex you can never be proud of in your life." Qin Yuan and I rented a house by Arai Lake. We also found a live-in auntie. She was responsible for cleaning and 3 meals a day. The auntie was a local, a bit chubby but very kind, and she worked extremely efficiently. She always nagged that we were both too thin, which made people feel sorry for us, and then she would rack her brains every day to study recipes and cook for us. Today she made dompa pork. Tomorrow she learned to make snow cotton bean paste. Actually, I couldn't eat anything anymore. But I couldn't bear to refuse the auntie's kindness, so I still forced myself to take a couple of bites each time. Then I would go to the bathroom and vomit for a long time. The woman in the mirror was getting thinner, her cheeks slightly sunken, which made her eyes look big. "Qin Yuan," I called her over. "Look at me now, don't you think I have that bony beauty?" She stood next to me, also terribly thin. She laughed. "I'm about the same. We're like a pair of skin and bones." I came across Shinzhou's short video. He always hated showing his face, but this time he cautiously looked into the camera. "Jing, if you can see this video, please don't swipe away, okay?" The man looked haggard, unshaven, with bloodshot eyes. Gone was his former high-spiritedness. "Where are you? Let me come find you, okay? In my life, there are only 2 things I regret. One is finding a girl who resembles you and indulging in lust. I never loved her. Every minute I was with her, I imagined her as the 18-year-old you. The other is that I shouldn't have dragged you into this back then. His eyes red. He tried hard to control himself, but couldn't help his voice trembling. All these years, I've hated myself for not protecting you. I really didn't want to listen anymore and swiped away the video. Qin Yuan, listening nearby, felt nauseous and kept asking me to confirm. You won't soften and forgive him, will you? Of course not, I said, casually scrolling through videos. Unless he dies with me. I was lying to her. Even if Shenzhou died with me, I still wouldn't forgive him. He's too dirty. Shenzhou's video went viral. He and Song Jun were soon cursed and trending. For a time, they became synonymous with scumbag and slut. People thought the wealthy bride forced him into this countdown breakup, but it turned out two trashy people found each other. What was the bride's 10 years of devotion worth? What were my tears those days worth? Being a mistress to this point, emotional trigger is the only two words that fit you. That girl was my middle school classmate. Back in school, she used that innocent face to pretend to be harmless, but behind the scenes, she stole boyfriends and bullied female classmates. Utterly vile. Haha, those detestable scumbags finally got exposed.
So satisfying.
No one will blame me this time, right? Soon. People dug up all of Song Jun's dirty secrets. Her school days were also being discussed fervently in the comments, with former classmates joining in to tear her apart. Photos of Song Jun and Shenzhou were turned into various memes. Every meme was filled with vicious insults. New catchphrases even emerged. Don't be too Song Jun. Compared to Shenzhou's influence, she was just a young girl with no background. Her address was easily exposed, and helpful netizens nearby started blocking her door every day. She lived on the first floor, and every night someone would smash her windows. Whenever she stepped outside, people would call her a homewrecker and a slut. People threw rotten eggs into her room and splashed paint on her door. Her entire family became a laughingstock. It was said that Song Jun developed depression. She locked herself in her room every day, reading the vicious online comments over and over, often breaking down in tears and then screaming and throwing things. Shenzhou dumped her. Because of that video where her face was revealed, he even hit her, and quite badly. The young girl was carried home by others. It spread online that Song Jun later completely lost her mind, crying and laughing every day in her room, hugging a huge teddy bear and calling it Azu. 2 months later, she was sent to a psychiatric hospital by her parents. Someone caught a video at the hospital entrance. In it, Song Jun no longer had her past innocent look. Her hair was messy, and she was hysterical. She was so thin she was almost unrecognizable, looking terrified at everyone. Netizens were very satisfied with this outcome. Serves her right. Waiting for the scumbag's ending. Why should the man just disappear scot-free? I heard the scumbag is in the underworld, so I hope he gets sliced to death. I might really be unlucky. The doctor said I have half a year to live. But after just 2 months, my body suddenly collapsed. The day after I rode an elephant with Qin Yuan, I couldn't get out of bed. We had agreed not to treat it anymore. But Qin Yuan still, with red eyes, sent me to the hospital. She panicked after all. After a stint in the emergency room, when I came out, I saw Qin Yuan with bloodshot eyes. She cursed, "You scared the shit out of me." She trembled, reaching for a cigarette, then remembered we were in the hospital and stopped. In the hospital room, we stared at each other for a long time and then both laughed. How complicated people are. Two women who thought they were carefree and ready to face death with a smile, yet flinched when death really came. No one can truly be carefree, but no one can defy fate either. Qin Yuan touched the morning glory on my collarbone, laughing even as tears kept falling. "This is my last piece of work. And you're taking it away so soon, you bastard." "But fine," she smiled. "The one who goes first doesn't have to worry." "Don't worry, I'll take your ashes back and bury them behind Grandma's grave." Qin Yuan tucked stray hair behind my ear. "Let you reunite, okay? And wait for me down there. We'll reincarnate together." Qin Yuan's perspective, Tang Zheng is dead. She died in Kunming, where it's spring all year round. She always said I was a very carefree person. I didn't cry when she died. But when I watched her being pushed into the cremator, at the moment I saw the flames engulf her, I suddenly broke down. That was Tang Zheng. a perfectly fine person, who just the day before was cheerfully coaxing me to take my medicine, was pushed into the fire just one day later. When she came out again, she had turned into a pile of ashes, placed in such a small box. The housekeeper, Auntie, wept bitterly. She kept muttering, "If I had known she was sick, I would have made her lighter meals. Should I have simmered more soup for her?" The other morning she wore too little clothing. When I urged her to put on a jacket, my voice was a bit loud. Do you think that child might have felt I was scolding her? The auntie choked up. She was only 28, a year younger than my own daughter. I held Tang Zheng's urn, my eyes red. She always felt she hadn't grown up pure as her grandmother had hoped. She didn't understand. She was such a wonderful person. It made the housekeeper, who had only known her for 2 months, sob uncontrollably. On the return flight, I stared at the hazy clouds outside the window and said quietly, "Tang Zheng, we're going home." I buried her in the cemetery behind her grandmother's grave, so her grandmother could watch over her. The portrait photo was taken in advance. The girl had short hair, clear eyes, and a bright smile in the picture. I placed flowers in front of her tombstone and whispered to her, "You must be the prettiest ghost in this cemetery." Then I swept the dust off my grandmother's grave and poured a glass of wine for her. "Grandma, I've brought Jingjing to you. Don't blame her for coming to join you so early. She had a hard time, and her last days were painful. She finally doesn't have to bear the pain and swallow handfuls of painkillers anymore." As I left, a light rain began to fall. I held an umbrella and walked out of the cemetery, only to run into someone face to face. A man I'd never seen in person, but whose name I'd heard countless times. Shun Zhou. I paused, pretending not to recognize him, and walked away. But he stopped me, staring intently, his voice hoarse. "I've seen your picture. Your name is Qin Yuan." I checked the flight records. "You and Zheng Zheng went to Yunnan together." I searched there for many days, but couldn't find Tang Zheng. He seemed to realize something. His body suddenly trembled, and he looked up at the cemetery behind me. "What are you doing here?" I looked into his eyes and said, word by word, "To see Tang Zheng off on her final journey." "What?" He staggered back a step, his eyes instantly reddening. "Tang Zheng is dead. She died in my arms." Shun Zhou froze in place. The man known for his violent temper was now shedding tears. "Where is she?" "Tang Zheng doesn't want to see you. If you want to cry at her grave, cry far away. Don't disturb her reunion with her grandmother." I didn't hide Tang Zheng's death, because he would definitely find out. Tang Zheng's tombstone is right behind her grandmother's. As long as he goes to visit her grandmother, he'll see it. But I wanted to tell him myself. I asked Tang Zheng if she would ever forgive you. Shin Zhou's eyelashes trembled, his face ashen as he waited for my answer. He knew Tang Zheng so well. He could have guessed her response long ago. I said, "Tang Zheng said, unless you die." Before she died, she scrubbed your name off her wrist bone, washed away the gardenia on her chest. She hated gardenias the most, and on the other side, she got a new tattoo of the trumpet creeper she loved. She threw away all the gifts you gave her, donated your money, and burned all her belongings. Do you know why? I spoke slowly, watching the utter desolation in Shun Zhou's eyes, feeling an inexplicable sense of relief. Because she didn't want anything to do with you anymore. You were too filthy, you made her sick. Actually, Tang Zheng had seen Song Jin's video long ago. She knew every day you spent with your mistress, counting down to the breakup. You thought the countdown on the calendar was her looking forward to, counting down the days, anticipating your wedding. I suddenly laughed. Shin Zhou lowered his eyes, and his eyelids suddenly twitched violently. I continued, "She never intended to marry you. The countdown on the calendar was her counting down the days until she left you. A man already rotten to the core. What makes you think she would still want to marry you?" The man lowered his eyes, his shoulders sagging completely. He choked out, "I've always blamed myself for turning Tang Zheng into what she became. I know she did it for me." In that environment, there was no room for someone too innocent. The brothers wouldn't accept a naive, inexperienced sister-in-law. She was never a burden. I was the one who dragged her down. When I was with Song Zhen, I always treated her as Tang Zheng. I indulged her only to make up in some way for the Tang Zheng of the past. I couldn't listen anymore and sneered. "Enough. Who are you trying to disgust? When you cheated, Tang Zheng wasn't even dead yet. Feeling guilty?" Instead of making it up to Tang Zheng, you go find a substitute to compensate? How fucking laughable. Tang Zheng suffered all the bitterness, and the compensation goes to a substitute, right? Xinzhou was silent, sobbing. In this life, from beginning to end, I have only ever loved Tang Zheng. Actually, his voice was trembling. In those days, I indulged Song Zhen only to bid farewell to the past, to bid farewell to the Tang Zheng of the past. After we got married, I would devote myself to making it up to her. I even had a vasectomy. 2 years ago, Tang Zheng took a knife for me and was injured. The injury affected her uterus, and the doctor said she would likely have difficulty conceiving. He laughed self-deprecatingly. I had the surgery. I planned to tell her after the wedding that I could go my whole life without children, as long as I had her. That would be enough. I cursed. Disgusting. Thinking about it, I laughed again. You did at least one decent thing. You lost Tang Zheng, and you'll have no descendants. That's good. In the rain, I smiled as I watched his retribution. I heard you've lost almost all your territory. TSK, family torn apart, friends betrayed. How tragic. Oh, and Tang Zheng asked me to tell you that those Venus Lin Jing snatched away were ones she had secretly helped you with while she was alive. She knew all your weaknesses. But Tang Zheng had a soft heart. She couldn't bear for the brothers who had been with her for years to suffer, so she made an agreement with Lin Jing to ensure each of them had a way out. They will only get better by following Lin Jing. I laughed.
See?
Tang Zheng had planned a way out for everyone, even the stray cats she often fed. Before leaving, she gave money to the nearby shopkeepers to help take care of them. Everyone except you. Now you know just how much she hated you, don't you? The rain grew heavier, soaking him through. But I held my umbrella and walked away. I didn't hail a taxi. I walked along the road outside the cemetery gate. My mind was in turmoil, remembering many things from the past. Some with Tang Zheng, and some from even further back. Tang Zheng always said I was carefree, but in truth, I had been extremely reliant on someone once. But I was let down. After that, I gradually let it go. Tang Zheng was a bit luckier than me. She still had a grandmother who doted on her. But I had no family. I grew up as an orphan, eating meals from different households. Suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by a speeding car. A black Range Rover tore through the rain and slammed heavily into the roadside guardrail. With a loud crash, that license plate ending in 999, I remembered Tang Zheng mentioning it. It was Xinzhou's car. I held my umbrella and coldly watched the raging flames. Too bad, a passing vehicle had called an ambulance. A kind-hearted driver dragged Xinzhou out of the car. I didn't look anymore, flagged down a passing taxi and left. Because I knew, no matter how severe the injuries, Xinzhou would never live a normal life again. Sure enough, Xinzhou didn't die. But his life was worse than death. The person he loved most refused to see him, even on their deathbed. His brothers hated him for his cruelty, for causing Tang Zheng's death, for abandoning her and running off to Lin Jing. The business was gone, the money all donated. That car accident didn't kill him, but it took his legs. Xinzhou became a true cripple. He didn't even have the courage to kill himself. I guess it was because he had no face to go down and see Tang Zheng. Once, while visiting Tang Zheng's grave, I saw him in the cemetery. He was wearing a long cotton jacket, covering his legs, sitting stiffly and numbly in a wheelchair, gazing at Tang Zheng's grave from afar. In the wind and snow, like a rigid statue, he stared for a long, long time. Until I left, he didn't dare to take a step forward. However, this should be my last time visiting Tang Zheng's grave. Since her burial, my body has been deteriorating day by day. But without Tang Zheng, there's no one to coax me into taking medicine. Sometimes at night, I am jolted awake by pain, swallowing handfuls of painkillers, repeating the cycle. Finally, on a snowy day, my life reached its final moment. I lay on the hospital bed, my gaze fixed outside the window. The withered branches were covered with a thin layer of snow. A vast expanse of white trees seemed to have been reborn. My vision gradually blurred. I seemed to see Tang Zheng. She stood in the snow, reaching out her hand toward me. Come on, Qin Yuan, don't be afraid. I closed my eyes and found I could truly accept death with peace. I had already prepared my funeral arrangements in advance. I had also bought a burial plot. It was close to Tang Zheng's. The tombstone next to mine was erected just last year. The girl in the death photo had a round, oval face. When she smiled, there was a small dimple on her left cheek, gentle and beautiful. The name on the stone was Hisui. Sui Sui, such a lovely name. I really like this new neighbor. Before my consciousness faded, I thought that when I got to the underworld, I would open another tattoo shop. First, I would tattoo a trumpet creeper flower for Tangzheng, who had become a female ghost. Because the trumpet creeper flower really looked like her.